Hello, everyone. Before I start, I've just received the most amazing bouquet of flowers from the UICC team. I'd like you to show you. It's such an amazing, colorful flowers. Thank you all. It's just wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dear friends, colleagues, members and partners of the UICC family, I would like to welcome you all to our very first virtual UICC General Assembly. These are historic times, my friends. I have been the president of UICC for the last 2 years. It has been both a privilege and an honor to work alongside you all, and also my honor to chair this General Assembly. I will say a few words before I give you all the needed technical and logistical details of this meeting. And I will also say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is a very nice Quranic verse to give us all good luck at this meeting. We normally hold face-to-face, we hold our meetings of the GA meetings face-to-face at each World Cancer Congress. It is sad that we are not in beautiful Oman attending the World Cancer Summit and Congress as we should have and as planned, hosted by the most amazing hosts. The Oman Cancer Association, represented by Dr. Wahid, and the National Oman Oncology Center, represented by Dr. Bassem. But alas, Corona had the last word. In fact, we had to make a constitutional change, which we put in place last April, so that we are able to hold our meetings in a hybrid fashion, both virtually and face-to-face, inshallah, in the future, when everything goes back to normal. I have to say that our thoughts are all with those who have been affected by COVID-19 in 2020. This has been an incredibly difficult time for us all as a cancer community and as a whole generation. My admiration to the UICC community, who have done an amazing job for cancer patients around the world during this pandemic in extremely challenging circumstances. You teach us all compassion, determination, resilience, and perseverance. I'm so honored to have known you all. And now to some logistics about the meeting. I would like to stress that if you encounter any technical problems during this General Assembly, such as logging in with the vote, please contact us by email at generalassembly@uicc.org. I repeat, generalassembly@uicc.org. The team is ready to address the technical problems as best as they can. The Assembly has been open since midnight Geneva time to allow all members to read the background papers and vote. Full members have received a unique code to vote, and all the documents to support their vote has been available at the UICC webpage under a section of the General Assembly. The voting platform has been accessible since midnight Geneva time to allow members around the world in different time zones to cast their vote. I will guide us through the assembly as the chair, which will be a mix of live sessions like this one and pre-recorded videos to ensure we cover all the ground we are obliged to do. I believe that more than 145 UICC full members have cast their votes until now and before we started. And I believe so far, and I'm sure the number has increased, more than 85 participants are online now. I'm sure the number has increased. Thank you all for being here with us today, as I know we have busy schedules. Thank you also to the team behind the scenes that are making this virtual event possible. They have been working for many months in the lead up to this great assembly. Let me start by explaining the role of the General Assembly. This is set out in the UICC Constitution, which is available on uicc.org and has been made available to all members in preparation for this meeting. The General Assembly is the supreme governing body of UICC. Under Article 10.8, the Constitution states that the General Assembly has a number of critical roles. Firstly, it chooses the President-elect and the members of the board who serve for the 2 years between General Assemblies. Secondly, it agrees any proposed changes to the Constitution. I'm pleased to say that this year we have no changes to be made. Thirdly, it receives and adopts the UICC activity reports and plans. Fourthly, it approves the audited financial accounts of the organization. And finally, if you are satisfied with the operation of UICC, then you must discharge the current board of its responsibilities in preparation for the new board to take up the reins and discharge the CEO as well for the current period. So let's turn into the agenda of the meeting. This is the proposed agenda. Let me go through it. First of all, we have to approve the proposed agenda. Carrie Adams, our CEO, will cover the performance of UICC in the last 2 years. I will then share my own take on a very challenging period for UICC and its members, as well as sharing my personal reflection and experience as UICC President and President-elect in the past 4 years. Sanchi Aranda, my predecessor and immediate past President of the UICC, will explain us how the nominating committee reached its decision on the candidates presented to you for the Board of Directors and President-elect. We will have a section live for questions and answers open to all members. This session will be facilitated by our wonderful CEO, Carrie Adams, who is live in Geneva. Excuse me for a second, I lost my thing. All members received a link where they could send questions that the team has been compiling since early this morning. In addition, when you logged in to this session, a chat function appeared where you can ask your questions. We will do our best to respond to all your questions within the time we have, but rest assured that we will try to answer all of your questions either today or offline. Then we will close the voting so the team will have enough time to sort out and announce the voting. Whilst the team is on the background sorting the votes, Dr. Anil De Cruz will talk through his views on the next 2 years when he will be President of UICC, And finally, we will see the results of the votes for the new board and the President-elect. I would then close this 2020 General Assembly. The full program is envisaged to last around 90 minutes. And let's go to the next slide. We now have to approve the agenda for this meeting. So let us see how the voting has gone today. Do you approve the proposed agenda for this meeting? Great. This has been overwhelmingly yes. Thank you. Thanks so much. This is a good time to thank our partner company managing the votes. Interactive Voting System is a company based in the Netherlands. We have worked with them since the General Assembly in Paris in 2018, and it has always been a pleasure. Stay reassured that this is an independent company with transparent and efficient systems used by many other organizations. IVs is usually on site with us at the General Assembly, and today they are also working remotely from the Netherlands. Let's now turn into the business performance overview.
Thank you, Princess Dina, for that introduction, and welcome to the first ever virtual assembly, and it's a privilege to be here today. And I will be going through the UICC financial results for 18 and 19, but I will touch on 2020 as well, so you're able to approve the financial accounts later in the assembly. It's a great honour to talk about UICC, about what we are and what we've achieved, and Princess Dina later will talk about her highlights from the last couple of years. But we're an old organisation going back to 1933 and based in Switzerland because that's where the World Health Organization is. And although we enjoy a really positive and hard-working relationship with the World Health Organization, we also enjoy relationships with other UN agencies, including IARC, the International Agency for Research on Cancer in Lyon, and also in Vienna with the International Atomic Energy Agency. So although we're a small team of 44 based in Geneva, we're actually a very large team with 1,200 members around the world in over 170 countries and many volunteers helping us to do our day-to-day work. And I'd like to thank everyone who's been involved in the last couple of years in making UICC so successful. Let me move on to the purpose statement of UICC, because this is the statement which binds all of us together and allows us to engage partners around the world to deliver what we want to deliver in the world. So we do unite and support the cancer community. We want to reduce the cancer burden, and we want to address inequity around the world. And we want to make sure that cancer and the other non-communicable diseases continue to be on the World Health and Development agenda. And this is the thing that keeps us together. And to achieve that, we have 4 areas of work which we work diligently on a day-to-day basis. The first one is our convening activity, the World Cancer Congress, World Cancer Leaders Summit and World Cancer Day. And of course, unfortunately, we've had to cancel the World Cancer Congress this year. And on capacity building, we've continued to roll out training, education and leadership training to our members around the world, including leadership development through the CEO program and Leadership in Action, the Young Leaders program. We also do the Cancer Advocates program, as well as doing fellowships and also some specific areas around breast cancer, etc. In advocacy, we've followed up on the cancer resolution which was achieved at the World Health Assembly, and we are working with our WHO colleagues to make sure that member states around the world engage in cancer through the form of new national cancer control plans which are appropriately financed so that we can make a difference country by country. And our relationship with those organisations that we have created or co-created in the last 10 years continues to be strong. And I'm sure Princess Dina will talk about City Cancer Challenge later, which we launched last year and we're very proud of. But we're also proud of the McCabe Centre for Law and Cancer based in Melbourne, and also the NCD Alliance, which is doing a fantastic job on behalf of all of those organisations with a passion for non-communicable diseases. And of course, the International Cancer Control Partnership, which we were founded some years ago. All of those organisations are working with us to help us deliver our long-term ambitions. So let me move on and talk about the specifics of the work that we've been doing. Look at the annual report. Fantastic publications which talk in detail about each of those components of our work and tell you what has been achieved through numbers over the last few years. Now, I will emphasise that the UICC team is a collaboration across many, many different organisations. Although we drive things like World Cancer Day and the World Cancer Congress and, for example, all the training and education, we rely on the volunteers from our network and from our partners to actually make it all happen. So if you flick through the pages of the annual report, you'll get an idea of the amount of effort and energy that's gone in to help us achieve our ambitions in the longer term. Of course, we concluded 2019 in a good, strong position, and we've gone into the COVID year. And I'll talk about how that's impacted our work a little bit later. Every other year, we ask our membership how we're doing, because we look at our results as we set out ourselves and our objectives. But it's important as a membership organisation that we ask you whether or not we're doing a good job. And those results are shared across the team and with the board, and we make them public so we can show where we've made progress and where we still have gaps in terms of delivering value to our great membership. We're delighted that more than 90% of our members for the last few years have said that they would recommend UICC to other cancer organisations, and that's reflected in the growth that we've seen in the membership base in the last few years. We also know that 41% of our members are very satisfied with the membership of UICC, and that has progressively grown since 2015 when we conducted the first of our membership surveys. Likewise, we've got lots of good feedback. The interaction with the team in Geneva, but across the UIC membership, has been very good. And as you see from this slide, 56% responding saying it's very good, which is up from 35% in 2015. And last year, we asked a question which we hadn't asked before, which was, how do we rate compared to other health organisations that you work with? And we had 68% of organisations saying that we stood out against other organisations. And we're very proud of those results, but we know that they've been delivered in hand with the membership around the world. So let me move on from that to the financial results. And the next slide, I'll talk about our P&L performance in 2018 and 19. These numbers are included in the annual reports online, and I would recommend that you look at them. There's more detail there. I'm giving the headlines for you. But as you can see, in 2018 and 19, we delivered pretty much a balanced budget where our expenditure was very close to our income. And our income was growing over the last 4 or 5 years. And during the time that City Cancer Challenge was with us, then we actually had more funding coming into the UICC before we released that fund to go with the City Cancer Challenge Foundation when it was established. But overall, we've had a very good couple of years where we've had good income levels, some growth in some areas, and we've seen a balanced budget at the end of the year. Our reserve position at the end of 2019 was 40%, which means that we've had sufficient cash in the bank in case there had been some sort of crisis occur, for example, the COVID pandemic. If we move on and look at the restricted fund income during the year, you'll see that we have secured more funding for some of the activities that we are doing now, particularly in closing the age gap with some funding from Sanofi and working in Latin America with colleagues funded by Novartis to look at cancer control in the context of health systems in that part of the world. Our capacity building funding has grown quite substantially, which is good news. And we've also seen other income coming in to fund a lot of the new projects that we have planned for the future. Of course, we didn't have a Congress this year, but in 2018, you can see we had funding from a Congress that came in. And also in 2019, we had money coming for the summit. Unfortunately, no funds will be coming in this year for our Congress. If we look at the balance sheet, then our position is relatively good. The changes that have occurred in the balance sheet between 2018 and 2019 reflect the fact that we created the City Cancer Challenge Foundation and we moved all the funds that have been established for that particular organisation into the new foundation. So that's why there's been a drop in the size of our asset base over that period of time. However, we have concluded the year, as I said, with 3.2 million, and that represents 5 months' worth of operating costs in reserves. So a relatively good position compared to many organisations around the world, and I'm sure some of you do not have the luxury of a reserve position like that. Now, if we look at the COVID implications on our budget this year, and I wanted to cover this, although we are talking about 18 and 19 in the General Assembly, I just wanted to give you comfort that UICC has responded very professionally with the challenges that we faced through COVID on our financials. As soon as we could see that there was going to be an impact on our membership and our partners, through which we receive a lot of our funding, we downsized our budgets completely, and we've been working on a very tight budget for the rest of the year. We took the opportunity in Geneva to use the furloughing arrangements for the government, and many of the team have been working reduced hours during that year because we have been stopping work like the Congress and the Summit and all face-to-face activities. So we've been very fortunate to receive subsidies from the Geneva government, and we do appreciate that. We've also had some partners step up and provide more funding for us, and about $350,000 has been made available from partners to help us and help our members through the COVID crisis. So as I stand today, and it is changing almost week by week, we're going to finish the year roughly at a balanced level. And because our costs have been reduced this year and will be reduced next year, because we continue to face challenges in fundraising, it means that our reserve position has actually gone up to 49%. So we're in a good position going into next year. The ambition of UICC management team and of the board is to support the UICC members through this terrible situation. At the same time, to protect all of the people that work in UICC who are the asset of the organisation. So we can go into 2021 with a great group of people motivated to support members around the world through what will be, we understand, a pretty poor situation financially for many organisations. So we're ready for the next year. So let me do a summary of the financial performance. So in 2018 and 19, we had a balanced budget. We grew the organisation. We also were able to find funding for City Cancer Challenge, and we established that as a foundation on its own. We achieved a balanced budget while growing the membership base and bringing more partners on board. And I'm pleased to say that PwC, our auditors, completed 2 audits and they were both very clean. We had no outstanding notes at all. And I would like to emphasise that PwC don't just do a basic audit on UICC. We go for a more detailed audit, which involves auditing our processes and the way that we conduct ourselves in our relationship, for example, on contracts. So the audit that we get from PwC is the highest quality level we can get. And I'm delighted to say that we have delivered clean audits on both years. Now, 2020 has been an amazing challenge for all of us, and I'm so in admiration of all cancer organisations around the world who, despite the challenges of COVID and the financial implications of that, are still doing the very best they can to support cancer patients in every country. And I know that my team have been in awe of the stories that we've heard as we've rolled out new services like the virtual dialogues to gather best practice and ideas to share around the UICC community. So although 2020 has been difficult, we expect 2021 will be harder. The financial implications of COVID will roll out around the world. And recent surveys that we've had with our UICC members, we know how stressed many organisations are. So our focus throughout 2021 will be on membership support and helping members around the world deliver the services they want to deliver to the patients in all of their countries. Now, we can't do all this work on our own. We rely on members, we rely on partners, we rely on our relationship with the UN system. We need lots of people to pull behind our purpose statement to make sure that we can unite and support the cancer community. And on this slide, we show all of the partners we had at the end of 2019. I don't intend to go through them all, but I want you to note how many organisations from diverse sectors we have supporting UICC and its membership around the world. They are an incredible group of people, and I'd like to say thank you to all of them for supporting us through 18 and 19, and particularly during 2020 and hopefully in 2021. We count on your support to deliver the services that we can deliver to a membership base which is going through a crisis. So thank you very much. And on that basis, I'd like to hand back to Princess Dina, who will conduct the rest of the General Assembly.
Dear friends, colleagues, and members and partners of the UICC family, I want to start by saying that seeing you all across computer screens is not at all what we had all envisioned. We were all meant to be meeting face-to-face in beautiful Oman, hosted by the most professional, active, generous, and giving hosts. I cannot say enough about the great dedication and effort that Oman Cancer Association, the Oman Oncology Center, and the government of Oman had afforded the October Summit and Congress. But alas, Corona had the last word this time. Dr. Wahid and Dr. Bassem, we thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for all you have done for UICC, and we hope that you will continue to be an active participant of the UICC family. It has been an incredible journey for me personally. My first engagement with UICC was when I, as Director General of the King Hussein Cancer Foundation, attended UICC Summit in Geneva in 2008. Thereafter, I continued engaging, attending most of UICC's summits and congresses until I was elected president of UICC in Paris in 2016. In the beginning, my team and I would participate passively at these meetings. We did not think at the time that we, as a small NGO from the developing world, had something super clever to say at those meetings. So believe it or not, we would only attend sessions, listen and learn. As time moved forward, we realized that on the contrary, not only that we had a lot to say, we brought to those meetings the lived experience of cancer control that brought to life the actual horrors of cold academic terms such as the lack of access to treatment and fleshed it out to an actual human being with dreams and hopes who was denied available cancer treatment and left to die. I understood then, as I do now, that we should all have a front seat at the table and that we are all equal partners in moving the cancer agenda forward. It is incredulous that we, as a cancer and NCD community, have achieved during the cancer control journey. from first joining forces with the NCD community to have NCDs and cancer actually acknowledged at the UN high-level meeting in 2011. When I was first privileged to speak on behalf of you all, to systematically moving the needle year after year, making sure that cancer remained on top of agenda. UICC is an agile organization. We do what it takes to fill gaps in cancer control, whether we undertake actions ourselves or jointly with others to establish new organizations to fulfill that gap. Here are some key highlights. In 2011, we understood that we needed to join forces with the NCD community to make our voices heard, and we did. We remain on the board as founders of NCDA, and we continue to work together. Now, NCDA has over 1,800 organizations all over the world advocating for the fight of NCDs, including cancer, in 750 cities in 130 countries, thus strengthening and expanding our movement. Then in 2017, we understood that global advocacy had reached its limits. We needed to understand why, despite the latest cancer control policies, recommendations, and tools on implementing cancer control, there was not much change on the ground saving cancer patients' lives. So UICC decided to explore a new paradigm shift in implementing effective cancer control. The City Cancer Challenge initiative was born. We decided to go local, supporting cities to build community-led cancer control solutions from the ground up. As president-elect, I traveled far and wide to 3 pilot cities, Ghana, Paraguay, Colombia, advocating to political leaders and influencers of cancer care in those countries the importance of putting their weight behind this initiative. UICC continued supporting and developing City Cancer Challenge and supported its transition to a standalone foundation in January 2019. UICC maintains a permanent seat on the board. Now CCAN has 9 cities signed up to the challenge, reaching 43.9 million people. In 2012, we saw a gap in cancer organizations utilizing the law as an effective tool to prevent cancer and other NCDs. This saw the establishment of the McCabe Center, a joint initiative of Cancer Council Victoria and UICC. The McCabe Center for Law and Cancer is the only center of its kind in the world, advancing law to prevent cancer and to protect people affected by it. UICC continues to be an active partner of this important initiative. In 2018, WHO called for the need to implement universal health coverage, UHC. UICC and the NCD community worked tirelessly to make sure that cancer treatment and prevention are not left out of the UHC package. I was proud to deliver the keynote speech again as eminent champion of NCDs at the 3rd high-level meeting in New York and to represent you all. In 2019, UICC held a very successful summit in Nur Sultan in Kazakhstan to discuss universal health coverage and cancer. I sincerely hope that we will be able to connect face-to-face again in Boston 2021 UICC Summit hosted by the American Society of Clinical Pathology, ASCP. In 2019 and 2018, respectively, UICC supported the publications of 2 important publications. The first publication of its type, Cancer Control in Africa, paving the way for UHC, jointly produced with Aortic, that focuses on cancer control in Africa. Secondly, the publication of the 3rd edition of the Cancer Atlas by the American Cancer Society, providing a comprehensive overview of the burden of cancer and risk factors. Today, I am honored to unveil the new Arabic version of the Cancer Atlas produced by our dear members, the Friends of Cancer Patients organization, led by Her Highness Sheikha Jawahir bint Muhammad Al Qasimi, a true NCD champion, and a UICC International Ambassador for Childhood Cancer. Thank you so much for your contribution of this important publication, making it accessible to all Arabic-speaking countries. Following the call from Dr. Tedros in May 2018 to eliminate cervical cancer, UICC worked to rally our members and partners in calling for urgent national commitments to approve the 2020-2030 global strategy for the elimination of cervical cancer. The strategy was finally approved in August 2020. I am privileged to be a member of the WHO Expert Technical Group for the Elimination of Cervical Cancer. 2019 UICC World Cancer Day was phenomenal. Over 500,000 social media mentions and over 1,000 World Cancer Day activities joining the I Am and I Will campaign. It was amazing. Countless monuments were also lit up with orange and blue all over the world. Our voice continues to be amplified all over the world. In February 2020, we had our last face-to-face board meeting in beautiful Oman. Ironically, at the time, we as a board called for us as UICC to take on more challenges. We wanted to do more. Then COVID-19 came, presenting us with the ultimate, dare I say, unwanted challenge. We witnessed how the cancer community, health providers, patients, and carers alike have undoubtedly suffered the worst of the coronavirus's double burden. At the same time, we saw how our cancer community has innovated and adapted to address the real challenges people face on the ground day in, day out. The stories that have been shared are nothing short of heroic, with both personal and collective Herculean endeavors being made to ensure that cancer diagnosis and treatment are not run over by the destructiveness of COVID-19 machines. In turn, UICC swiftly adapted all our programs and trainings and gone virtual to support our membership and to unite us all during this challenging time. UICC's virtual dialogues provided members with enhanced opportunities to connect, exchange knowledge, and share solutions on the respective and common challenges during COVID-19. They also included expert advice on how to navigate and take advantage of the digital transformation imposed by the pandemic in the areas of leadership, fundraising, and service delivery, and other topics. On a personal level, it has been both an honor and a privilege to serve you all as the cancer community. As President and President-elect, I have dedicated much of my time to advocate on your behalf, engage, and meet as many members and partners from across the globe to keep cancer on top of agenda. With over 50 trips in the last 3 years, I met thousands and thousands of wonderful people on the ground who are trying to work day in, day out to alleviate the landscape for cancer patients in extremely challenging circumstances. The above achievements are not mine nor UICC's alone. These are the achievements of each one of you here in this room, members and partners, translating global advocacy into action on the ground in your own countries. When a member organization fights for the right of cancer patients in their own country to have coverage for cancer, for example, you are moving the needle forward. When another fights for the right of girls and women to have cervical cancer vaccination, you are moving the needle forward. UICC's achievements is the sum of our parts, members and partners alike. UICC is you, and you are us. Now, more than ever, we must not let the coronavirus rob us from the hard-won gains made by the cancer community. While social distancing may have worked for corona, social cohesion is what we need more than ever now. As aptly put by Martin Luther King, we may all come on different ships, but we are all on the same boat now. I would be remiss if I do not thank each and every board member who supported me during my presidency. Your counsel and advice were so valuable to me. And best wishes to Professor Anel de Cruz, who will be the new president of UICC. I am sure you will do very well. Also, special thanks to Carrie and the wonderful UICC team. We could not have achieved our goals without your hard work, commitment, and dedication to cancer control. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. A special thank you to some current members who have unfortunately come to the end of their time on the board. Dr. Wahid Kharousi, Dr. Alejandro Mohar, Her Excellency Sally Cowell, Professor Jeff Dunn, Dr. Sontari Somasundram, and Anne's team. It would be remiss of me not to acknowledge your contribution to the success of UICC in the last few years. Again, your counsel and advice, the perspective you brought to the table, you challenged us all to make UICC a better organization. Thank you so much for all that you have done for us. And now, we will now turn to the election of the new board of directors and the president-elect. Sanchia Aranda will provide an overview of the process along with her perspective of how it was managed as a member of the nominating committee. Please go ahead, Sanchia, and explain the nomination process.
Thank you, Princess Dina, and may I also offer my congratulations on your presidency. It's been a wonderful 2 years. So it's my job to explain the election process. Everyone's always very interested in this, so it's important that our members understand how the board of directors and the president-elect are selected. So these processes are guided by the UICC Constitution. This means that the president chairs the nominating committee and is joined on that committee by the president-elect, the immediate past president, and 2 board members appointed by the board. The president is responsible for the integrity of the process for the nominations for both the president-elect and the members of the board, and has all powers related thereto. And the president also has the responsibility of presenting to the General Assembly an appropriate number of nominees for the elections for both the president-elect and the members of the board of directors. This was our nominating committee this time, and in addition to the 3 presidents, we were joined by Anne Stein from South Africa and Sunthari Somasundaran from Malaysia. The election process is begun with a call for nominations for both the president-elect and the board members, and this was issued on May 22nd, 2020. The nominations were reviewed by the nominating committee on the 8th of July, 2020, and in accordance with the Constitution, each nomination was screened to assess the individual's qualifications to perform the role that he or she had been nominated for. The committee reviewed 6 nominations for the role of president-elect and 44 nominations for membership of the board. So the nominating committee, in undertaking this review and preparing a slate of candidates for the General Assembly vote, considers gender, geographical location, area of expertise, the nature of the organisation that the individuals come from, but also governance continuity, because we need to be able to avoid turning over the entire board at any one election. And while we received a vast number of nominations for the board of directors and very many more strong candidates than there are roles for on the slate, we are presenting to the General Assembly today 22 candidates for the board of directors and 2 candidates for president-elect. The names and the profile of all of these candidates were announced to the members of UICC at the end of July, and voting started at 0100 Geneva time to provide as much time as possible for you all to vote, given this new electronic world that we live in. So the candidates for President-elect are here before you, Jeff Dunn and Daiming Fan. And the candidates for Board of Directors, I won't read out all of the names, but you can see the first group, the second group, and the third group. And I recommend all of these candidates to you, and please enjoy your voting, and we will hear the results shortly.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Sanchi Aranda, for giving us a great presentation about the nomination process. I know that many members are now very pleased to know the details of how we go over the intricate selection process. And this year, I have to say, it was very difficult. Too many great names, difficult to choose. Carrie, I would also like to thank you for your great brief about the business overview. And I want to tell everyone, Carrie and the team did an amazing job in adapting and navigating the whole organization because of the pandemic to be able to service and deliver our members in these difficult times. Thank you so much, Carrie, for your leadership. Sanchia, I just want to say, if you're still online, it was a pleasure working with Sanchia as part of the nominating committee as immediate past president of UICC and president of UICC while I was president-elect. Thank you so much for your support as well. Before we move into the elections, we have time now for some questions which have been posed during the day on the platform. Carrie will be facilitating this session as the team in Geneva have been managing all the incoming questions. Please be reminded that after this session, the voting will be closing. So those who didn't vote, please vote now. I will let you know, but if you have not voted yet, this is the time to do so, as we will be closing right after the Q&A. Carrie, I now hand back over to you. Please, Carrie, go ahead.
Thank you, Princess Dina. Really appreciate that. And thank you to Sanchia and also to the rest of those who've pulled together to bring this General Assembly happening today. Dina, you will not be surprised that the #1 question which we have got from our membership by a long way is, dear Princess Dina, you've been a great ambassador for the world, for the community. What will you be doing next, and will you be collaborating with the UICC? So perhaps you could start off by telling us what your immediate plans are and what your intentions are.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Carrie. Of course, I'm going to continue collaborating. I think, try get rid of me. It's not going to happen. Cancer control is not a career for me. It is personal. I'm a mother of a cancer survivor, and I know, I've been an advocate since that time, and it's going to continue. I will be there for all the members and the friends that I met and colleagues to support you all. I'm only an email away. That's for one. As to my immediate plans, I will continue working on the task force for cervical elimination of cancer with WHO. So I'm hoping to focus a lot on that, because I believe that this is within our reach. We just need to get everybody behind that initiative to make it happen, because we have all the tools on our fingertips. And I really want to be part of that, as well as supporting the childhood cancer initiative. And of course, I will always remain an anti-tobacco advocate as well. There's a lot more to do, and but these are my immediate plans. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dina, and I'm sure everyone's delighted to hear that you're going to stay part of the community and be very active. The next question I'm going to share with Anil de Cruz. I hope Anil is on the line. It's come from several members of the Asia Pacific region, which is interesting, but I'm sure it reflects the concerns of many others, is that with a UICC that's not having a face-to-face programs like the Congress, the Leadership in Actions, how are we going to share best practice across the community? And of course, we have started doing that by doing as much of the work we do virtually, but perhaps I could pass to Anil, because Anil, I know we'll be talking about this later, so you don't want to say too much, Anil, but perhaps you could let us know, what progress we've made and what the plans are for the future.
Well, I guess, Carrie, as you've said, we've already started adapting to this new normal. We've developed a great range of virtual offers, dialogues. A lot of our Congress master courses are now online. The feedback has been excellent, and they've met with success. But honestly, as I see it, it's not the same as having face-to-face meetings. And as things evolve and as the corona pandemic settles, I'm sure in time to come, we'll have a combination of the virtual and the face-to-face. So we'll move towards a hybrid model. And we'll take a call as situation settles, as international travels open, and as we get advisory from regulatory bodies, both the WHO and various countries. So I see us shifting towards a hybrid model very soon.
Thank you, Anil. And I think it probably reflects the approach of many of the UIC members over the last 6 months, is to move as much of what you do in terms of supporting patients, supporting other organisations online. And I can assure you that from a UIC perspective, we are constantly looking to see what best practice is in terms of sharing information, and we will continue to do that for the remainder of the year. Let me move on to our next question. This has come from our North American members. It's about the World Cancer Congress and the fact that it's always been, quote, a priority for us, and how will we adapt the next one and ensure access to the community? We are some 2 years away from the next World Cancer Congress, and we're already thinking about how we can deliver that in a hybrid way, which allows people to attend it without necessarily going to the location itself. And our start point will be how we deliver and design the World Cancer Leaders Summit in 2021, October in Boston. We've already started the planning of that. We'll be reaching out to our partners, our hosts, ASCP, and look at what we've each learned over the last few months in terms of delivering something which is of value to those who attend, but how do we bring that great quality of education, of training, of knowledge? How do we share that around the broader cancer community, in particular the UIC members? So I think we'll be making some announcements in the next few months about how that will roll out in the World Cancer Leaders Summit, and a lot of that learning will be transferred straight through to the Congress in future. But I would like to echo the words of Anil. I think we're all missing the interaction which we have when we go to a World Cancer Congress, and I'd like to say that I too am very sorry that we have not been able to be in Amman this year. Let me move on to a third question which has come up, which is about the plans around capitalising on the Build Back Better from the WHO. And maybe I could answer this one. This has come from our friend Kate Allen at the World Cancer Research Fund International in London in the UK. I think we're all very much behind the World Health Organization addressing COVID as it is doing at the moment. And we know that every government around the world has an absolute focus on protecting people and to support people through the COVID crisis. And it's impacting the NCDs and the cancer community. But what we do want to do is to make sure that change in paradigm is of value to the NCD community in the future. And by way of example, we have argued, and perhaps Princess Dina, you could answer this in a moment, we have argued for many years that health is a whole of government issue. It's a whole of society issue, and it needs a multi-sectoral approach. And what COVID has shown us is that a health issue can be addressed by a whole of government, sometimes not as well as we would like, but nonetheless, everyone is engaged. The whole of society has been involved because we've had to be involved because it affects our family, our friends, and our work colleagues, and the patients and the hospitals where cancer cancer treatment is being delivered. But more importantly, I think we'll all learn through that process that we have to invest in health for the wealth of the country as well. This is not just a health issue. This impacts the economy, it impacts the way in which we run our societies. So I do see a silver lining under a dark cloud, and I do believe that we will have better engagement in health in the future. But in terms of the Build Back Better work, which has been driven by WHO, I have no doubt that UICC and the NCD Alliance have to play a major role in positioning the NCDs in that agenda. Princess Dina, perhaps you have a comment on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with what you said. I think that the COVID-19 has unmasked so many truths, some uncomfortable, comfortable and uncomfortable. Definitely, as you said, it showed us the importance of political will. For example, we've seen countries who have been not so decisive or maybe denying the pandemic, how they had failed to protect their own citizens, and those who have had great political will, how they managed to galvanize the whole community and produced great results. So like you said, all for health, but it's all, health for all, that's our goal, but we need to be united so that we can be all for health as well. To be able to build back better. Like I said in my earlier speech, while social distancing is what worked for Corona, at this time it's social cohesion is what we need to be able to keep cancer on top of the agenda and to keep our voice loud and clear to all policymakers that we will not accept a Sophie's type approach to cancer patients' treatment and care. This cannot be. We should be able to have systems that treat patients, not diseases, patients as a whole, and we should be able to take care of a person who is diabetic, has COVID-19, and has cancer. And it can be done, but we need the political will and the determination to make it happen.
Thank you for that, Princess Dina. I think we have time for one more question. This is from our friends at the Qatar Cancer Society, who have an interest in the way in which we see UICC growing and developing over the next few years, given that we have virtualized so much of our operation in terms of the way we work as a team, the way we interact with our members, and the way that we deliver our products and services. We certainly, last year, we were thinking that we would create a lot of online communities across the UICC membership to engage on a daily basis so we can share best practice rather than using those set-piece forums like the World Cancer Congress and World Cancer Leaders Summit. And we called that project EUICC. Now, a lot of what we've done this year is actually leading us towards that anyway. But what we had to do this year was to make sure the business was financially viable. So we've had to delay our investment in our own CRM system, which was going to cost a lot of money, because we didn't want to spend that money this year when we didn't know what the financial position would be through 2020 and 2021. So with the permission of Princess Dina and the board, we've delayed that investment until next year, hopefully, if not the year after. And that will give us the framework and the backbone of delivering this new EUICC that we would like to bring to the homes, to the offices of all UICC members and their staff around the world in due course. Now, I hope that answers all the questions. I can assure you that there will be, my team are picking up all the questions that have come in during the assembly itself, and we will reach out to individuals who've posted those questions. But I'd like to thank everyone who took the time and effort to actually send some through. Now, before I hand back to Princess Dina, I'd like to say those flowers look superb, Princess Dina. And I must say, I don't know who chose them, but I know there's a lady who's around you called Aya and has been doing some wonderful support for you for 2 years. So could we just see Aya so we can say hello and say thank you?
Aya, come.
Come on.
Hi, Aya is here. Here is Aya. Hi.
Much for all of your support over the last 2 years as well. But Dina, before we move on, we know that you are passionate about the City Cancer Challenge before it became its own foundation, and you have been a passionate supporter since it's been on its own, and you've been working with it and working with Sue and Isabel. And Sue and Isabel said, we cannot miss this opportunity, but can we please say thank you? So here is a video from CCAN to say thank you.
Oh, wow.
Dearest Princess Dina, to mark the last day of your presidency at UICC, on behalf of everyone here at CCAN, we want to thank you sincerely for your unfaltering support.
For this reason, we've asked the CCAN cities to say a few words about you.
Pasión y propósito resumen la gestión de la princesa Dina Miret.
Her Royal Highness Princess Dina Miret, thank you very much for your passionate leadership style. From a mother advocating for a child to now an effective global advocate.
Princess Dina, you are a true global cancer leader. Here in Paraguay, we all love you.
Thank you so much, Princess Dina. You've been a great supporter for the City Cancer Challenge since the beginning. We are very grateful. You are a true leader for the cancer community.
Princess Dina is a charismatic, dynamic, and staunch leader in cancer control.
I admire Princess Di for her compassion, strength, and self-confidence.
Princess Diana is an incredible human and a global cancer-fighting ambassador.
Princess Dina is more than a princess. She is the voice of cancer patients.
Desde la ciudad de Cali agradecemos a la princesa Dina de Jordania por su trabajo, empeño y dedicación en la estrategia y en la lucha contra el cáncer a nivel internacional.
Princess Dina is a passionate and global advocate, inspiration for cancer control.
Princess Dina strives to make a difference in cancer.
Oh my goodness. My
tissue.
goodness. Yes, I need the tissue. You knew how to get me, Carrie.
Oh, don't worry, there's more to come. Dina, I'll hand back to you to continue with the General Assembly. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. This is so special. I couldn't have gotten a better surprise. You know, I loved every minute meeting with each and every one of you during all my visits. And I, was so honored and privileged to hear your stories and challenges and, to join you all in the brainstorming. And it was just amazing. You really surprised me this time. And thank you, Sue and Isabel. You know how much I loved CCAN. It was, I was not going to let it go, but of course it needed to go on, become its own foundation. But I will also remain a support to you all. Thank you, thank you. This is an amazing, amazing surprise. Thank you so much. Thank you. Ooh, how do I continue now with other logistical stuff? It's not fun, but I have to. Okay. Well, thank you, Carrie, for facilitating this session. Thank you for the video producers, Isabel and Sue, again. But Sue, where is your hat? I wanted to see you with your special hat, but that's another side joke. Votes are officially closing, so it's now time to close the voting. We thank all full members that have been voting since early this morning. As mentioned at the beginning of my introduction, the team now will prepare the results and I will be announcing them in about 20 minutes. It is now my honor to present Dr. Anil de Cruz, who has been working with me and the board of directors for the last 2 years as president-elect. Dr. Anil, please go ahead and give us your brief and your vision on the next 2 years. Please go ahead.
Princess Dina and members of the board of directors, Carrie and the Geneva team, our partners and supporters, most importantly, leadership of our member organizations, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning good afternoon, good evening, good night, whichever part of the world you are in and whichever time zone. Who would think 2 years ago we would be doing the General Assembly on a virtual platform rather than in beautiful Oman? A conference that, in my opinion, promised to be the best or one of the best ever UICC World Congresses. As Princess Dina said, the support of our hosts, their government, was unparalleled. But to me, the personal attention of Dr. Wahid, Dr. Basim, and the leadership at OCA to the minutest detail really looked like we were going to have a great Congress. But everything is not in our hands. Times change, things change, and we need to adapt. Everything looked good for us at the UICC and the cancer community in general in the preceding 2 years before COVID. For us at the UICC, we had new members, new partners, exciting new programs that were well accepted universally. For the cancer community in general, there were advances in cancer treatment. National cancer control plans were recognized, funded, and being implemented. There was a higher profile for cancer and the other NCDs in discussions about universal health coverage. And most importantly, there was a recognition and making efforts that cervical cancer, which was a scourge for years, could be eliminated, with WHO leading the way. But the last 6 months and COVID changed it all. Our focus has now been, in the last 6 months, on helping our cancer patients and ensuring that our organizations survive the financial impacts of this pandemic. So how has COVID-19 impacted on cancer care? For our patients, there were concerns about going to their doctor and the hospital for fear of contracting the virus. For those who were brave enough to venture out, there were restrictions in place in many countries that made travel difficult. And there was a higher risk of serious implications, consequences of treatment, which necessitated change in treatment protocols with unknown consequences. For cancer control and treatment, screening programs were put on hold in many a country. Cancer services and resources were diverted to deal with the pandemic. There were shortages of medicines in some countries, and hospitals had to re-engineer their operations to protect staff, patients, and their families. And for many of us in cancer support groups, for many of our members, there was a change in approach and a revert to the remote support of patients. What were the financial impacts of COVID-19? We did a survey in August 2020, and 120 of our members completed the survey. The results were a concern for our community. 3% of those who responded said they would cease operations as a result of the pandemic. 40% had seen a drop in income ranging anywhere between 25 to 75%. 20% had seen a drop in up to 25% of their income, and there were just a fourth of our organizations did not experience the financial impact as a result of COVID-19. And this is for the current year. In my understanding, reading business magazines, the impact of COVID is going to stretch for the next couple of years. And sometimes I shudder to think what the financial implications would be in the coming year, 2021. How do we meet this challenge? What is the immediate need that we need to do? We need to reach out and support each other as we learn more about the intersection between COVID-19 and cancer, what I now call the two big C's. We must share practices across the community to better deal with the impacts of COVID. We need to engage with our governments to help deal with COVID-19, but at the same time, continue to emphasize the specific needs of cancer patients during these unprecedented times. We need to share ideas on fundraising so that all our members are able to survive these troublesome times. But most importantly, we must not lose focus and ensure that cancer is firmly in the minds of national governments as they seek to build back better. What are the long-term plans and how do we deal with COVID? At the UICC, we conduct a strategic review once every 4 years to reflect on the long-term ambitions of our organization. The next one is due in 2021. This review is usually conducted by the UICC Board of Directors that truly represents our membership. But we plan to reach out to our membership to understand their views and concerns, reach out to our strategic partners like the NCD Alliance, the Kansas City Challenge Foundation, the McCabe Center for Law and Cancer, plus our UN colleagues in the WHO, IARC, and IAEA. We plan to reach out to our partners from the private sector, in addition to global health leaders and academia from across the globe. We should have results by 2021 end, and we will share this with our membership. But I'm sure COVID-19 will have a serious implication on how we plan the future 2021 and beyond. Some of our current priorities will continue to change. The Board of Directors recently agreed that the business plan for 2020 to 2023, some of the core priorities would continue. We would support the WHO in cervical cancer elimination initiative. We'll ensure all countries have a robust national cancer control plan. We'll see global improvements in the availability of essential medicines and technologies for cancer treatment and care. We'll raise the profile of the antimicrobial resistance globally to ensure that we have more antibiotics that are developed and available for those that need them. We'll play a forceful role in countering the growing challenges of e-cigarettes, that the incidence of which is rising in many parts of the world. We'll help UICC members develop their skills to improve the effectiveness of their own organizations. And importantly, we'll continue to ensure that we coordinate our advocacy messages around the world. What about our other forte of convening? We have to be realistic, pragmatic, that face-to-face meetings, international travel, large-scale meetings will be difficult in the next 2 years. But we must ensure that our community stays together. Our next major event will be October of 2021, when we'll host the World Cancer Leaders Summit in Boston, with the theme of driving innovation to advance cancer control equitably. This meeting is planned as a hybrid meeting with part of our delegates face-to-face and the others following it on a virtual platform. UICC will increase the delivery of virtual dialogues, training and education opportunities for members and their teams. We'll design new ways to engage our members virtually and share their knowledge and experience around the world. We'll have sharing of ideas on fundraising and organizational management as a priority. but most importantly, our flagship program, the World Cancer Day, 4th of February. We'll make sure that the voice of cancer is heard loud and clear. This is the last year when we have the 3-year theme of I am and I will. Unfortunately, we're going to miss the World Cancer Congress this year. We would probably hold one in 2022. It was planned for Berlin, but after discussion with our friends at the German Cancer Society, we've agreed that the 2022 World Cancer Congress will not take place in Berlin as originally planned. We plan to deliver the Congress in Geneva instead. The last meeting was held here in 2008. The event will take place again as a hybrid, partly face-to-face, partly virtual. We are going to discuss with the new board once they take over, with our Congress and Summits team and the local staff at the Geneva office, and further details will be communicated to you all in the coming months. And it will be based on how the COVID situation pans out in the next few months. However dark things might seem, there's always a silver lining to the cloud. And we are going to change. To me, cancer is going nowhere. COVID's going nowhere for the next couple of years. So there's going to be a new normal. There'll be new treatment protocols. As a clinician, we've started treating patients differently. Decreasing the intensity of chemotherapy, decreasing or changing fractionation with radiotherapy so that patients spend less time at the hospital. There'll be a new normal for screening that's totally stopped in major parts of the world. There'll be a bigger role for teleconsults, less hospital visits. Meetings will be hybrid. We'll be using digital platforms to stay connected. And we'll also have innovative modes of raising funds. All this may translate into cost savings, and that cost savings could probably be channeled into patient care, into cancer control. One never knows. So we look forward to what's going to happen in this new normal and tap on whatever is scientific and beneficial to the cause of cancer. I invite you to join us on Tuesday, the 24th of November, in celebrating community, collaboration, and leadership, which is a special edition virtual dialogue program for our members. We'll come together as a community to reflect on the past year and all that can be achieved and what we've learned in the time of crisis. We'll announce and celebrate the winners of the UICC Awards for the Best CEO and the Best World Cancer Day Spirit, and hear from current and emerging leaders across our various networks. I end with a personal thank you. A thank you to our Geneva team, Carrie and the entire team at Geneva, who have been incredibly resilient. They've been tenacious and have shown immense commitment in the last 6 months. To Princess Dina, the President and the Board of Directors, for their commitment to the UICC cause and its members. To the UICC members personally for giving me a chance to be President of the UICC, and hopefully with our new Board of Directors, help every cancer organization navigate these difficult times through the long-term impact and consequences of the pandemic. A thank you to the cancer community as a whole for their incredible work in the last few months, dealing with the pandemic personally, as well as staying committed to the cause of cancer and our patients. And I'd also like to thank our Omani hosts. It's unfortunate we couldn't take the conference to Oman, but inshallah, we recognize that the Gulf is an important part of the world for us in cancer control, and OCA and the Oman country plays a very, very pivotal role in the region. Hopefully we'll come back to you in the very near future when everything settles with probably a bigger program than what we planned in 2020. Thank you very, very much for your kind attention. And I now hand back to the organizers for a little surprise that we may have for you. Although you've completed your official 4 years on the UICC board, we are not letting you go, Princess Dina. Your passion and commitment to the UICC cause is unparalleled, something that all of us must emulate.
I'm going to miss you as our president. It's been such a privilege getting to know you. I've also really appreciated all the laughs we've had, and it's been a privilege working with you.
Dear Princess Dina, thank you for your leadership, passion, energy, and unwavering commitment to UICC and the global cancer cause over the last 2 years.
Under your presidency, we could see all your energy, all your commitment. I want to take this moment to really thank you for having me in your family, in your UICC family.
Presidency and leadership has activated a new generation of cancer warriors, inspired not only by your words, but actions. You lead from the front, and your outstanding achievements are testimony to your presidency.
During her tenure as president of the UICC, I was convinced of her leadership, I was convinced of her good humor, and I was convinced also of her strong character and absolute convincement of what she and the UICC could accomplish.
I highly appreciate your great contribution to UICC in these years. Especially during your presidency, I can feel your enthusiasm to work on global cancer control.
We will miss you and your valuable and insightful guidance. It was an honor to be part of the board of directors under your leadership.
Princess Dina, I just want to thank you for your incredible leadership over the last 2 years. Because of your leadership, we have a different outlook today than we did a few years ago, especially with regard to cervical cancer and how it affects women in the developing world.
Dearest Princess Dina, no words can fully express how much I admire your leadership and your tireless dedication to the fight against cancer.
I was privileged to have the opportunity to work with you, Princess Dina. You are a great partner and a great leader. You represented UICC with pride, and you have always put UICC on top of your agenda.
I'd like to acknowledge and thank you for your passionate support during your term as President of UICC for cancer control, for access and availability of medicines, and for suitable healthcare facilities for cancer patients.
Princess Dina, thank you so much for your wonderful leadership over the last 2 years. You've been a strong ambassador to UICC on the world stage, and I know that your wisdom and experience will be hugely missed.
I remember when I first met you, I was expecting to meet a haughty and really hard to approach Princess of Jordan. On the contrary, there was this really exuberant, wonderful, intelligent, and highly passionate about cancer control princess that was very easy to approach and very easy to learn from.
To Her Royal Highness, Princess Dina Miret of Jordan, what a dynamic and fabulous time we've had under your term as President of the Union for International Cancer Control. You have brought great charisma, boundless energy, and a passion to the task at hand, and that is cancer control around the globe.
What can I say? Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is a very special video. Thank you, all our wonderful board members, for your lovely messages. Really, it's just amazing. Thank you so much. And it's been a privilege to work with each and every one of you along our journey in cancer control. Thank you so much. Now, I would like also to thank Anil, and I wish you, Anil, the best of luck for the next 2 years as president. You have a lot on your hand, with COVID-19 and so on, but you are in great hands with the board, the new board, and Carrie and the team. Now we are at the point in the General Assembly when we see the results of the voting from full members of UICC. The results will be shown on the screen when I ask for them. Can we please start? Let's begin by the approval of the minutes of the 2018 General Assembly held in Kuala Lumpur 2 years ago. The minutes were made available to the UICC membership on 5th of August 2020. Let us now see the results of the voting on the last set of minutes. Resounding yes. Did anybody say no? That will be interesting. Whoever said no, I want to know why. Thank you so much. Now we must approve the financial accounts for 2018 and 2019. The annual reports for the years 2018 and 2019 were made available to the membership also on 5th of August 2020 to give you all time to consider the performance of the organization. They have also been accessible through uicc.org and in the annual reports. As Carrie explained, the financial accounts were audited by PricewaterhouseCoopers. Can I now ask for the results of the votes on the annual accounts for 2018 and 2019, please? Great. Again, a resounding yes. Thank you so much. Can I now ask for the results of the vote to ensure that the current board and CEO are discharged of their duties before we move on to the vote on who will be the new directors of the board and president-elect? The board and the CEO have completed their obligations and their responsibilities, and it is now to discharge them. Please, can you please show us the results of this? Again, a resounding yes. We now move on to the exciting bit, the election of the president-elect and the board of directors. May I wish all the candidates the very best of luck. And if you are not successful this time, please, 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 can I ask for your continued support and commitment to UICC? So, let's start by the results for the president-elect. We have two outstanding candidates, Jeff Dunn and Daming Phan. Can you please show us the results? Congratulations to the winner, Jeff Dunn. Well done, and big commiserations to Professor Daming Phan. And I know hopefully in the future you'll have another chance, but please everybody remember that Professor Daming can also be considered that because he didn't win the presidency, he should also be considered in your vote for the new board. But please don't forget his name. Jeff, well done and congratulations. Now we will see the results from the vote of the board of directors. Can we have the results, please? The new board members in alphabetical order will appear. I'm going to be reading the new names. Well done, congratulations in advance. We've got Ulrika Kagstrom, Eric Buffet, Hannah Shire Shuaib, Daming Phan, Christiana Fonesca, Nick Grant, Ann Lee, Gilberto Lopez, Kenji Lopez Cuevas, Miriam Mutebi, Ana Cristina Pino Mendez Pereira, C.S. Pramesh, Daniel Roden, and Zainab Shinkafi Bagadu. Well done to all. Again, commiserations to those who didn't make it. Please try again next round. I'm sure you will have your chance to be on the wonderful UICC board. Congratulations. And now I would like to ask Jeff Dunn, the new president-elect of UICC, to say some words and thank the membership for voting for him, and to just say a few words and reflections on this amazing new result.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Princess Dina Mored, President of the UICC, Dr. Anil de Cruz, incoming President, our CEO, Dr. Kerry Adams, and of course, friends and colleagues from the UICC membership around the globe. Being elected to serve as President-elect is a great honour for me and a wonderful opportunity to continue to serve the UICC membership and the global cancer community. I commit myself to further the aspirations of the UICC and each and every one of its members, of our members, through tireless pursuit of our mission. Together, united, let's ensure that we make the world a better place. Let's make the world one that's free from cancer. And I with you, hand in hand, commit myself to that task and look forward to the challenges ahead. In closing these brief remarks, can I acknowledge my friend and colleague, Professor Daming Phan. I do wish him well for the election to the board, and no matter what happens, I am sure we will remain close collaborators into the future as we share that vision for cancer control. Can I acknowledge yet again the boundless energy, the charisma, and the commitment of our outgoing president, Princess Dina Mored. It's been a terrific journey with you, Princess Dina. Every minute of it. These past 4 years, having you on the board, and these last 2 as president, and rest assured you have my abiding respect and friendship. Can I also throw out to Dr. Anil de Cruz, a long-standing friend and colleague of mine, congratulate him on his ascension to the chair, and once again assure him of my ongoing support over coming years and through his presidency. And to each and every member of the newly elected board, I do look forward to working with you. I stand a proud yet grateful servant of the UICC, and I look forward to these next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeff. This is well-earned result, and we look forward to your leadership in the after Professor Anil de Cruz. I'm sure you will do an amazing job. That, ladies and gentlemen, concludes the UICC General Assembly 2020. Again, I would like to congratulate the new president-elect, Jeff Dunn, and the new board of directors on the election success. I wish you all the luck. You have a big job in hand to be able to keep cancer on top of agenda. I want to assure you of my support should you need it. I'm only an email away. I would like to wish again Anil de Cruz the very best as the new president of UICC. And finally, I would like to also thank, of course, Kerry and the team. I'm going to miss you all, each and every one of you. It's been a fantastic journey, and thank all the CCAN team as well. And also all the UICC members and partners who really gave me this amazing opportunity to be president of UICC in the last 2 years. It's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you for allowing me to join you in this amazing journey of cancer control. Thank you so much, and thank you to everyone. Thank you.